Hi there, I'm Miriam and welcome to Miriam's Manor. So today, you guys, is part 3 of my 2026 Christmas Village setup, and today I am beginning construction of my town square. So this is where it all happens, when the village actually begins to take shape. So I've got a couple of platforms I'm building for my town square, and I also have to do a lot of carving for the ground in my town square. So my goal is to get everything built, carved, and painted in this video, and then I'll probably do the decorations and adding the buildings and trees and people and things like that the following week. So let's go ahead and jump into these projects. All right, you guys, it is time to start constructing my town square. Now, as you can see, I have a few things laid out. And if you remember my sketch that I drew, I showed you guys how I wanted to have 2 elevated platforms on either side with grand stairs that lead up to it. And so that is what we have, my big staircase in the center that will lead to the next level. Now, everything you see in pink back there, that's somebody else's project. We're not focused on that right now. But today we're just going to be working from where you see the stairs and then everything forward. All of this space will end up being the town square. So what I want to get accomplished today is I'm going to glue these pieces down on either end, and I want to get my layout actually pulled out. I'm going to pull out the Christmas Village pieces that I'm going to use for my town square city blocks, and hopefully also have enough time to get this whole space here carved and painted. So let's go ahead and get started. So I am using foam coat from Hot Wire Foam Factory to glue these 2 pieces together, and I believe it says you need to allow 12 hours to dry. Yes, for full adhesion, but it actually sets up a lot faster than that. I've worked with this after 4 hours and cut through it, and it was fine. But if you want to follow the instructions, then make sure to wait the full 12 hours. One thing that I do is I always will spread the glue to the very ends of the platform, because I want a proper seal all along the very ends. I also put glue on the underside that I will rub in. As you can see, I did not use a lot of glue for this, so you don't need a ton for this particular glue. Okay, on to number 2. I decided to back up a bit before I pull out all my buildings, because I need to prepare the grounds for the first 2 feet of this board. So I already know that I want 1-inch concrete tiles for the major space between these stairs that you see to the left and the right. So I'm going to do that first, because I can always just lay my roads right on top of that. And if I do sidewalks, I can just put my sidewalks on top of that as well. So I'm going to carve out the concrete tiles first, and then I will go ahead and pull out all the buildings. This is what we are looking like so far. Can you guys see where I'm going with this and catch my vision? But because it is already getting late into the evening, it's really hot outside. So I am going to wait to carve this out first thing tomorrow morning. So I will be back in the morning to show you guys how I actually carve out this pattern. It's very similar to how you saw me draw it out. All right, you guys, so I am getting ready to carve out this board, and I'm going to use my 4-foot long leveler to do this. If you do not have something this long, you can use a regular ruler, but you want to make sure you use some sort of guide to keep your line straight. I also have my respirator mask that I am going to put on, and I am using my 3-inch hot knife today. Now, the reason I love using my 3-inch hot knife instead of my engraving tool is because this tip is a lot finer than the engraving tool, and it gives me thinner lines in the styrofoam. One other tip, when you're using a power box like this, don't turn the heat all the way up, because the hotter your blade is, the more the foam will expand. So if you want thinner lines, just move a little bit slower on a lower heat setting, and it will keep your lines nice and tight. Let's get started. I hope my camera is picking it up, but all of the horizontal lines are now carved. So now I'm gonna go through and cut them vertically. All right, everything is carved out now. It's just a piece of the film. So I am going to take this back inside and get it ready for paint. All right, the board is back inside, and I have set the other platforms in place. One thing that I did do is mark, I don't know if you can see that. I put a little mark where the stairs begin and end, because this portion here, I am not going to carve. I'm going to leave that completely flat so that these stairs can continue to butt right up to this and be nice and seamless. But I will carve the rest of the front and the sides and the back of this platform. So I'm going to set the buildings that go here and here on their platforms so I can begin to see how I want to carve out the top of this. You guys, I am still not sure yet if I'm doing snow in this village. So I'm going to go ahead and carve the tops and give it somewhat of a ground like I did this here. Just in case I decide not to add snow at the end, it will already have a ground covering. All right, you guys, so here's what I'm thinking. I normally use these two pieces here in my town square somewhere. I always have this tree as well as this fountain. Now, I will have city blocks, 4 buildings here and 4 buildings here. So I'm not going to have a ton of space to put it between these two, because even if I did like this and had it in the center, first of all, that just doesn't look right, and it blocks the stairs. And second, like the buildings are already going to be here and about right there, so it would just look way too tight. So I was thinking I can put them here in the center of each platform. I just don't know how I feel about it. I think that looks good. Let's see. See, that's what bothers me because I feel like that tree is too tall for this space, but I want to do something. Maybe I won't do the tree. I'll figure out another spot for the tree somewhere else in the village. Maybe it should go in the carnival on the second level. But I want to do something to outline this center part here to create a space that is defining the space as a communal space. And I think I might do a round cobblestone little courtyard right here because I don't want this concrete tile pattern to be everywhere up here because then I think that'll just be too much. I think it needs to be broken up with maybe a round cobblestone courtyard, and then on the outer portion I can add the concrete tiles everywhere else around it. You guys, I am talking out loud and thinking this through as I am shooting this video. This is my process. A lot of you said you wanted to see what my process was, what I'm thinking. And so welcome to my brain. So I'm going to get something large enough to outline a circle, and let me find something and I'll be right back. All right, you guys, this is what I found. A pot lid. And I actually pulled out two different sizes. I think I like the larger size though, because the base of this fountain is so big that this will actually fit in it. And you can actually see the courtyard from underneath it. Whereas if I go like this and do this one, you can see the fountain actually covers like all of this lid. So I think I will outline it there. I will center it with the stairs and then carve this pattern on top of here. All right. All right, I think that's as close as I'm gonna get. Now, when I carve this, I'm gonna come along this outer line here and then come along this inner line here because I wasn't lined up right when I was doing this circle. But I can see the even space on both sides where I need to carve. This spot right here, I went a little too wide, so I need to bring this in just a bit because I don't know if you can tell by the camera angle that you're looking at, but I can see that it is off. Okay. And that will get me pretty even. And then I'm just going to draw a brick pattern. This will be for the outside that I'll just go around like this and create the outer edge of bricks and then work in the center and create my pattern in the middle. I have my Lazy Susan out so that I can just set my styrofoam board on top of it because I am going to turn this when I am carving the circle instead of trying to keep my hand steady going all the way around. I'm going to keep the blade still and turn with this. right, so I drew some flagstones in the center of this here, and I think I like it. So I'm gonna go ahead and carve out a flagstone courtyard. And I am going to use the engraver tool for this because between flagstones, the lines are always a lot wider. So I'm going to use this tool because it's got a much thicker tip and it's going to spread. I am also turning my heat all the way on high so that I can get that nice wide line there. All right, now you can see how much wider these lines are, and I did carve, if you can tell, these side blocks. I did it off camera so you guys, since you guys already saw how I did that on the other one, but you can see just how wide the lines are when you use the engraver tool and you turn that heat all the way up. Now the only thing I have left to do on the top part is the individual bricks that are going around this. All right, so here it is. All of the bricks on the outside are carved, the flagstone is carved, and the concrete tiles are carved. Now all I have to do is carve the fronts and the sides. All right, for the next part of the process, I am using my sculpting tool from Hot Wire Foam Factory. This is a very thin wire that I absolutely love. It does have an adjustable neck so that you can make really tiny crevices or wider crevices. Now I am just going to carve the sides here. Remember, I'm going to leave this plain because my stairs are going here, and then I'm going to finish carving all the way around. All right, you guys, this is what we are looking like so far. As you can see, I did the rock formations on the sides because this pattern can be too busy if I would have used the same pattern up the sides as well as across the whole top. I needed something to break it up, and these rock formations definitely give your eye a little bit of a break from the pattern, as well as the flagstone courtyard. And it's going to give me a break because I'm going to paint these different colors, whereas this is just going to be gray. It's going to look like concrete tiles, and I'm going to bring some color in here, which will really break things up and give your eye something just visually different to look at. So this is the entire bones of the town square, business district, and civic centers. So I am loving how this is turning out already. I am going to go ahead and start the paint job. I probably won't get to that today. It'll probably be tomorrow, but I will include it in this same video. Oh, by the way, you can see I also did begin to at least spray paint the other stairs black. I just have to finish them out like this. But I will probably try to knock out the complete paint job of all three pieces as well as the stairs tomorrow. And you know what? I'm going to pick this up before it gets clumpy. I'm just going to brush this part in. All right, the first piece is complete. I'm gonna go ahead and finish painting the rest of these. I will not bore you guys with the rest of the details. I will be back when I'm done. It is a new day. The paint is all dry. And one thing that I want to show you guys, I think I found an example right here. Oh, here we go. If you can see, there's a little bit of white right here in this crack. Now, that happens when the black wash forms like a bubble and then it pops and it doesn't like seep all the way down in there. So all I'm going to do is take a really fine brush, put a little paint on it, go in there and fill that in. I'm going to do that in the few spots where this has happened. And then we're going to get ready to add our first layer of color. All right, one last thing that I want to bring to your attention before we get started. I'm really up close on the board so that you guys can see this. You can see how some spots are painted a little darker and then some look lighter in the black. That is because when I took that coating off of this foam board, it still left some of the adhesive behind. And so that is where you can see the streaks of that film and the adhesive from the film. So I am hoping that once I add my first layer of gray, and because of the way that I apply it, it's stippled, I'm hoping that it'll mask all of these lines. If it doesn't, I am going to go back and recover this with several more coats of paint. Normally, I do not do that. I just do one coat of a black wash. But in this case, since you guys can see, that would bother me looking at this. And I feel like it just would really ruin the entire design. So it's all over. I could carve the other side and take the film off the back of this board and carve the other side if I need to, but I'm going to see if I can salvage this first since I already spent a few hours drawing this out and carving it. All right, so for now, I am going to start with my first coat of gray. Now this, I love these big things of paint. I buy this at Michael's and it's the brand Artist Loft. And they also have them in this size, Artist Loft. But I use a lot of black and white paint, so I just buy the big containers. Also because you guys know I make these to sell as well. So I oftentimes need a lot more paint than the average person. But the nice thing is you don't need as much paint to paint an entire surface when you are adding your color. You use a lot more black paint in your black wash than you do when you're painting your layers of color. So I always start off with a smaller amount. And you can see I added 3 dots of black to this. You know what? I think I might add 2 more because I do want to start off with a darker layer. I always go from darker to lighter. That actually is perfect. That's the color I'm going to start with. Now to begin, I'm just going to wet the tip of my brush. Now I am taking my brush that still had paint on it from the black wash that I just wrapped up overnight in a plastic bag. And I'm going to start on all of the sides of this piece first. And I'm just going to paint in like X motions across the face of this. Now, I'm not worried about covering a lot of the black in this first coat. It's the light is shining in. It's kind of hard. Let me see if I can do it like this, so you can get a better look at what this actually looks like, because the light is shining in on it. There we go. So you can see there's still a lot of black in there, and I'm not worried about covering all of that up in my first coat because I'm going to be adding several layers of paint to this. And as I add each layer, more of that surface is just going to be covered. You'll also notice how much faster this goes than the black wash. That's it. Now I am just going to take my brush and press in, because now I am going to dap this. This is going to give me that concrete effect that I'm going for. And I'm going to do this all over the board and just add these layers of gray paint from darkest to lightest. Now I'm just lightly dabbing. I am not pressing hard in this at all, because if you press too hard, you can end up with a blotchy spot. I'm also dipping my paint and then wiping the excess off on the rim of this cup so that I don't end up with too much paint on my brush. All right, you guys get the idea. I am going to finish this up and I will show you what this looked like after the first one is completed. Okay, this is the moment of truth. I'm gonna test this out. I did add more more black paint to this mix because I do want to start with a little bit of a darker gray base on this. So let's see if this stippling painting method hides these streaks. Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? I think I am good. That is really exciting, so that I don't have to repaint this whole thing. All right, I'm gonna finish this out and I'll give you guys a look at what it looks like when I'm all done. Hopefully it dries this way. That will be the biggest test. So I will show you guys once it's dry. All right, so this is what it looks like dry. You can see I also started in on my other stairs over there, like I did that one. But you can see a little bit of the lines if you look closely. So I think that, like, you can really see it from this angle when the sun shines in on it. You can see a little bit of the streakiness. But I think as I continue to add the layers of paint, most of it will be hidden. And I'm going to have houses and roads, and so there's not going to be a ton of this showing. So I think I'm going to be okay. I'm going to go ahead and add some more white paint to my current mixture and just keep layering this up. Again, I won't bore you guys with the details. What I'll do is just show you what it looks like after I finish each coat from this point forward, since you've already seen how I start. All right, this is what we are looking like after the second coat of paint. You can see it's starting to take shape a little bit more in certain spots and where it's still a little bit darker. This is a part of this process. So if you see like spots looking lighter, some looking darker, it all evens itself out in the end. So just keep going. I usually do about 3 coats. This one may take 4 because if you remember the first layer that I put on, I did choose to go a little bit darker because I did want more variation of color coming through in this. So I'm gonna go ahead and again, lighten up my color, add some more white to my gray paint over there, and start back in on coat number 3. All right, this is what we're looking like after coat number 3. We are getting there. You can see this area is starting to look a little bit more even that I just showed you guys before. And this base over here is really looking good. I am going to put one more coat of paint on this, and then I think I should be done. All right, you guys, the paint is finally done. I will take you in for a closer look. Most of that streakiness did hide with the paint. However, I can still see it in certain spots. Like you can, I don't know if you can tell right here. That is like one of the streaks heading in this direction. However, with all of the buildings that are going to be on here, I'm not too concerned about it. It doesn't look as bad. Now let me show you the difference though. You can see the finished paint job and how it would look if I got all of that film off here versus here. Like you can see the streaks in certain spots. Instead of it just being stippled like it is here, you can see some of the streaks in here. But overall, I mean, that is if you're being picky and you're really paying attention, because even when you back up just a few feet like I am now, it's not noticeable. And once the buildings and roads and everything else and the people are on here, it's really not going to be that noticeable. I thought about doing this over, and I had to tell myself, Miriam, that's ridiculous. It's not going to be that bad once everything is done. So I hope that helps if for those of you who also go through that process. As you can see, I did paint the other 2 sets of stairs. They're not totally done yet. I just have one more thing to do, and that's the touch-ups. You can see here, I've got to touch that up with some black around the little like finials. I've got gold down here. So I just need to do the black touch-ups, and then the stairs are completely done, and I'm so excited. The other thing that I did off camera was paint this flagstone. I didn't paint this one over here, as you can see, because I'm sitting with the color for a few days to see if I like it. And I'm going to pull out my buildings and set them on here, and that will really help me tell once I have the buildings and they have the color in it, if it plays well with one another, and then I'll be able to tell if I want to either keep that like that or do like black, white, and gray. So I'm going to end this here, and next week I will be back with the video showing you how I decorate this space. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Well, over the course of several days for me, this took me about a week to get done from start to finish. And I do love the way that it's turning out so far. Like I said to you guys, I was having a little bit of difficulty with that film still being on. But you know, I have a new experience every time. Normally, I'm always able to get all of it off. And for whatever reason, the adhesive was like stuck this time on it. And even using a blow dryer didn't help. So it's just one of those things that it is what it is. But I'm really not concerned about it. I do think that it's going to be okay at the end of the day. So let me know your thoughts and what you guys think about it. Also, let me know what you think about that multicolored flagstone courtyard, because although I do love it, I think I just need to really see the buildings on it to see if I'm in love with it or not. So once I get the buildings on there too, let me know what you think today. But also once I get the buildings on it, let me know what you guys think next week once the buildings are on it, because I don't think I'm going to paint that other one yet until I probably hear from you guys and get a little bit of feedback on that, because I could go either way. But Let's see, we do have the 2026 Christmas Village contest coming up. I will be making the announcement for that this month, and I'm so excited to release all of the wonderful things to you guys. We are doing things a little bit differently this year, and I really think that it is going to benefit you all. So if you have any questions for me, please leave me a line in the comment section and I will get back to you. Don't forget to give me a big thumbs up for this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, become a member, do all of the YouTube things that you guys know to do. And until I see you again, stay safe, God bless you, and I will see you next Friday. Bye for now.